Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I hope you're doing well, and my name is Ali Ahmed Mohammed. Welcome to the session of Zakat of Fiqhi Ibadah, and we'll be talking about Zakat as a pillar of Islam and the perspective of Muhammadiyah. And we can see that I will focus mostly on the presentation, which will explore the concept of zakat, which is a crucial pillar of faith. We know that there are five pillars of Islam: shahada, salat, zakat, som, and hajj. And also we can get that the concept well through the lens of Muhammadiyah's Tarjih Council. And when we go to the next slide, which will be understanding zakat, the definition and the significance. What is zakat? We all know that zakat is a pillar of Islam. It's the fourth pillar, is the third pillar, sorry, of Islam. And we can actually see that through zakat, it means the purification or growth. It's also a form of almsgiving that purifies wealth and promotes economic and social well-being. So when we talk about purification, we talk about how the zakat purifies our wealth. When we give wealth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings in blessings for the wealth and promoting economic and social well-being of a person. And we can see zakat, which I talked about, as a third pillar of Islam. Zakat is one of the five pillars of Islam, which I said, alongside faith, prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage, which is Shahada, Salat, Saum, and Hajj. Its observance is considered a fundamental. It's fundamental obligation. It is obligatory. It is compulsory. It is mandatory. It is a must. It is fard for every Muslim to give out zakat. And also, we can talk about the principles of Muhammadiyah Tarjih. When my research was based on Muhammadiyah Tarjih, and we can see the preferential reasoning. When we talk about Tarjih, which means preference, involving or applying reasoning and principles to arrive at the most appropriate rulings in Islamic jurisprudence. When we say reason, all of us, we know that we'll come together and give a reason. Why is it, for example, why is it a must to fast? Yeah, it's a must because it's obligation. It's an obligation and it's a command from the Almighty Deity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what are the other reasons that contribute to make it a reason of fasting? And tarjih, which is the preference, yeah, involving reasoning. These are the principles of Muhammadiyah. And the second principle of Muhammadiyah is the principle of the source of tarjih. Where is the source? Yeah, we all know that we are commanded this, and the source comes from this. The source comes either from the Prophet, or the source comes either from the Quran or from the ijma, when the ulama have the ijma, or we can have the qiyas. And the sources of tarjih, which is the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, which is the consensus, and Qiyas, analogical reason, and our primary course consulted. They are consulted for tarjih. And we can also see the textual evidence and interpretation, which we can take off. Muhammadiyah emphasizes the importance of relying on evidence, on both literal and contextual, according to Islamic text. Yeah, the Quran, what the textual evidence, interpretation. How do you interpret? How is it interpreted? And also we can go to the zakat recipients, as there are eight recipients of zakat. Yeah, al-fuqara wal-masakin wa-riqab wa-gharim wa-mu'allaf fi sabilillah ibn sabil al-amil zakat. All these recipients, there are eight recipients of zakat. And when we talk about the fuqara, we all know about the fuqara, the individuals who lack sufficient means to meet their basic needs. Yeah, the masakin, at least he is in a good condition, but the fuqara, sorry, the fuqara is total, does not have the good, is not in a good condition to provide the basic needs for himself or for the family. We can also see the zakat administrators, which they are al-amilin, which zakat administrators, for example, in Muhammadiyah, there is a lazismo. They are individuals who are responsible for zakat collecting and distributing zakat. And also there are those whose hearts are to be reconciled, al muallaf kulu, as I've talked more about it here on the recipients of zakat. We will move on to, yeah, the types of wealth subject to zakat at a tarjih ruling, and they are payable for gold and silver, which is al-dhahab and silver. Zakat is payable on gold and silver exceeding a certain amount. Threshold nisab. Nisab is a, what do you call, nisab is an is a range, or is an amount at a rate of 2.5%. And we also have the agricultural produce, which is zakat is calculated on agricultural produce based on specific criteria such as irrigation methods and yield, which here in Indonesia we use about for the rice. We'll use the example of the rice nasi, which is used more, and we will give out rice which is used more. For example, in my country, which we use beans or we use wheat, we'll give out wheat more, or rice also will give more. And also we can see livestock, which is zakat is payable on livestock exceeding a certain number, with calculation varying based on the animal type. There is, for example, the goat, there is a specific percentage. For the cow, there is a specific percentage, which I will later propose it. And we can see that the livestock, dairy produce, or goats, cows, etc. And business inventory, for example, if you're a manager for a bank or you have a business, you're supposed to give zakat when it exceeds a specific amount. And when we go to the next slide, it's about the determining nisab, or threshold, or the amount, yeah, according to Muhammadiyah's tarjis stance. And when we check on Muhammadiyah's perspective, uh, there is the first thing, which is the historical debates. The nisab, or the minimum amount of wealth subject to zakat, has been a subject of debate. Yeah, it has been a subject of debate among Islamic scholars throughout history. When we say the imams, who there is a difference between the madhabs. And we also can see the Muhammadiyah's tarjih stance, which is Muhammadiyah tarjih favors a specific standard of nisab, considering both historic and contemporary realities. And we can also, when we move to the next slide, we are going to see the zakat calculation and payment, which is a tarjih perspective. There are calculation methods, which different methods, yeah, are used to calculate zakat based on the type of wealth that is involved. Yeah, and for example, there are different type of wealth that are involved, as we know, like the gold, the silver, yeah, the bronze, the money, and also there is deductible expenses. Certain permissible expenses can be deducted from wealth before calculating zakat. And we also have the third one, which is the payment frequency. Zakat is typically paid annually. We know every month or every year, sorry, we are supposed to give zakat. Yeah, there is zakatul mal, zakatul fitr, which we are supposed to give based on the completion of the Islamic year. And when we can see the fourth one is the distribution methods. So whether like the zakat can be distributed directly, yeah, can be distributed directly to eligible recipients, or the community project, for example, the Lazismo that Muhammadiyah has to collect zakat. And we also, when we come to the next slide, yeah, zakat administration and governance, a strategy approach. When we talk about there are zakat institutions, yeah, zakat institutions play a critical role when we have the the institutions that are there, the schools that are there to collect and distribute zakat funds to eligible. We are using the keyword eligible, to eligible what recipients. And we can go on to the second point, which talks about centralized versus decent. Before I talk about the second point, I want to illustrate on the first point on zakat institutions. Zakat institutions, remember that it is mandatory for one to give to eligible recipients. Yeah, as we mentioned, the 8 recipients of zakat, you have to ensure that you give zakat to all the 8 recipients of zakat. And we also, when I come to the second point, the centralized versus the decentralized, Muhammadiyah Tarji holds specific views on the most effective model, yeah, for zakat collection and management. There is the lacismo, which I talked about, yeah, and the third, which is the transparency and accountability. Here there has to be a strategy approach which talks about ensuring there is transparency and accountability. Remember, this is an amana for collecting, and this is from, that's wajib, kewajibatan, as Indonesian says, this is wajib, and this is amana that you have been given, whoever is collecting the zakat, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to ensure that the transparency is there and the accountability also is there. And the last point, which I'd like to elaborate more, is the technology. I'll talk more about technology. When we say about technology, yeah, for example, when we talk about the banks, how they have created leveraging technology for efficient zakat administration, such as online platforms, which can streamline the online platform that Muhammadiyah has, and also the banks, Bank Negara and Bank Sharia. Yeah. Uh, when we have the contemporary issues and challenges, there is solutions. Yeah, the tarjih solutions. Yeah, zakat evasion, strategies for promoting compliance and raising awareness about zakat obligations. Zakat, we all know that there are challenges that faces uh, the lazismo. When we talk about Muhammadiyah, there are people who do not pay zakat. Yeah, they evade zakat, and we all know that zakat is obligatory. It is mandatory. It is fard. It is a must for every Muslim to pay zakat. And we can see the other challenge that faces the Tarji solution is the misappropriation of funds Robust mechanism for oversight and accountability are necessary. Yeah, how can we prevent this? They are necessary to prevent the misuse of what, of zakat funds. And we also have the issue of addressing poverty. Yeah, the innovative zakat based programs and initiatives can effectively tackle, yeah, can effectively tackle. When we come to the next slide, which talks about the conclusion, zakat as a catalyst. We know a catalyst is something that speeds up or slow down the reaction. That's it, chemistry. And in here, zakat serves as a cornerstone of Islamic teachings, both spiritual purification and social well-being. Muhammadiyah strategy, interpretations, and rulings offer practical, yeah, practical guidance for fulfilling zakat obligations in a just and equitable manner. Just, when we say just, we means by promoting equality. Also, by embracing zakat's transformative potential, we can create a society marked by social justice and economic prosperity. I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Alwi Ahmed Mohammed, and I want to say if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. Thank you very much, and God bless you.